was first through here, there was no vegetation at all. I first came here and the forest burn-offs had stripped everything bare. So that's what I mean. Hardly any exotics, but you get regeneration. And some of the regeneration will bring back some of the natural look of what was originally growing in these areas, or these places here. We'll come out here and you'll be able to get the sun and the light. It was and here you've got some sun on it. And so it's just a matter of catching the right light and the right time, and this is what this bay's named after, or this rock, part of the feature. I've got several names coming down here. At the very end was a beach completely stripped of rock end to end, and that's what I believe allowed the fleet of canoes at Parikawa came when they...
It's a very noisy plane.
Only one of the day, aye. But
helicopter.
But for that, although the lake's come up a little bit, it's still handy for us to be able to at least walk down and onto. That's why I say, while the lake stays low, we must take advantage of some canoe landings and sites that are being covered over. But all the end of the bay there, before Punui Pa, has been completely stripped and cleared of rocks. Just a little sandy beach. This feature here is the incident with the fighting that went up from Punui Pa above us, and that they came down, he and his wife, and they hid behind. And that's another mix-up, I think. One name TeWhare tower fits all. People are getting confused with the name to apply with different whakapapa and history. Yes. up this end of the lake.
So there looks to me as if there are markings on this rock. There looks like there's a piece of kokowai.
Yes, but then it could be an energetic bird. Some of these rocks around where you're standing could have been moved and disturbed in the past. What are you on there, Jeffrey?
I'm on a terrace, part of the terrace where the track is. We've found the track again.
Whaitaima all right getting up here?
I don't know, would you like to hold on to my loofah?
No.
Oh, I'd hold on to your loofah. I'll take the camera from you if you need it.
We're now right next to the road here. This is why I want this permanently. If any future subdivision housing everything, this road forms a reserve buffer, natural bush regeneration. So they've got private to property signs all along the road. You can't even get in there if you wanted to. But all this is regeneration. So without you planting vegetation, part of the 30-year lease that Doc had was those plant flexes and natives. I don't know if they planted more than a dozen flexes, and everything's just regenerated.
itself. What I found encouraging walking around a lot of these reserves is the amount of trapping that's going on.
Yes.
To get rid of all of those little critters that are killing off all the birds and skinks and any other kind of life.
It's what we call exotic intruders.
Exotic intruders.
Mm.
Yes. When I've talked to some Ngāti Rauhotu people about this area, they know that some of their tupuna's here, but they don't know really who's here. They don't know. They just know there's a lot of very special people buried here, but not sure.
Yes, but why is it burial? Burial is as agriculture. Go to the end of the alphabet and everything in between. They eliminate anything but burial, and why can't they get the whole picture of how people lived, born, died, lived, and the whole picture? And that disjoints the historic landscape if they just focus on one thing.
Yes.
And plus, all these years, have they had an interest to be shown or want to go or even have a guide or something? It just doesn't happen.
Mm.
It's unfortunate. I believe that a time will come, either guided parties or anything, for everyone to have that knowledge and be able to welcome, to take people out and show them the places.
Well, the good thing is that they're all still here. We may all be under a cloak of ignorance and not even forgetfulness, because how can you say you've forgotten something if you've never known it, if you've never been taught it? So these trees, which are the commonest ones, are they? What is this?
Oh, yeah, you get Miro, but you get lancewood, and lemonwood's a common understory. Karaka, there's no karaka here.
Taraka.
Oh, taraka.
Taraka. With lemonwood.
Lemonwood. You want me to meet up with you to say hello to Jim?
If you want to come.
He's quite happy to have a group round a table.
Yeah, come. So we'll meet you at Whaitaima TeWhare. Would that be okay?
Yep,
I haven't been there before. I don't know.
Oh, haven't you? When they started putting the terraces of silicon, the power people took a photo of me standing with all the steam before the initial forming. So I have had those publicity photos taken. But his wife, Raywin, she's a lovely person, but known them way back from school days, you know. We must be getting near there.
We must be.
Jeffrey can let me know when we're near there.
Yeah, you made his,
Yes, my loofah will wiggle.
you made his tumble around.
Yes,
And if
my loofah will start to vibrate.
and if not, I've got the old black and white photos. I'll come out here just to get my bearings. Now, somewhere along here, if not here, was an old canoe landing. I'd rather pick up on it water-rounded water-rolled obsidian. Been used for a long time, and unless I just missed it. But you see the somewhat cleared areas here.
Yes.
Now, right over here was the first of two settlements.
Where that big...
The pine tree is the pine trees that have been poisoned. They mark Rangatira Point, but the true Rangatira was at Utaparai. That was the original Rangatira, Utaparai. Some maps in 1920s, 30s put Rangatira there, and it was from here that you start getting cleared beaches, and there's one well-defined canoe landing I've took a black and white photo of, and I'm sure it was about here, and with the dog found a great spot, haven't you? Yes, you have.
Well, it's in the lee of the wind, the prevailing wind here, so it could make a good place.
Well, you very often, this is why it's only at Punui you get the real clearness. For most of the direct southerlies, this was quite sheltered.
Well, you can just see out there how calm it is in this part of the bay, and the moment you get out to where, by those pine trees, that pine tree, it all goes, that's where the wind is.
So you get this bit of ebbing with the water, that current coming in, and so this marks with cleared stones. This starts marking a bit of the use they had before they had settlements here, and they're well documented as still being used by in the 1870s.
So when do you think did people first start living out in this area? Because those Whakamoinga caves have people inhabited back from the 14th century onwards.
Well, yes, if they intermittently, because here the settlement records are later date, much later date, going into 19th century, because the defensive works of Punui can extensively use South Punui, Jerusalem, and Acacia Bay areas, extensively used then. And so these are sort of outer use or wider use. And when people walked everywhere too, then if they didn't use the canoes. So there's canoe landing here. I've got an excellent black and white photo. You can see the area cleared. Around the corner from the pine tree there's a fairly deep cave. A
deep what?
There. Cave.
Oh yes.
A cave, but goes in quite deeply.
Is it what sort of cave? Is it a sleeping one, or?
Well, it could have been a multi-period, different use for that. But what you got here is settlements. So you got what they call pa, but they're more settlements because there's very little use of defensive works. And so you got a karaka, and you got a totra pa, and a karaka pa. Both were side by side. Got some terracing up there, but nothing to suggest the earlier, like Clifford eras and that we've been to.
Are there wharepune sites?
No, not on there. I did notice. I think one whare site, and I had several marked out with this road scuttled, and unfortunately the clever person who was just on TV a few days ago down at South Island, and that had to do with the gold miner they just buried. Couldn't identify the bones, so just buried the bones, and he was the one who came across it years ago, so he is back in the South Island with his work down the Cluth project, so he's on TV. But what he did, he didn't see me, and I walked the whole road with a surveyor from Acacia Bay, walked it, pointed out the features and that. This is when they want this road widening concept for the developers, the intended subdivision development. And I marked 5 or 6 sites along the way. So what he did, he went to Rangi office at Dock at the time and said, oh, I'm going here and there. So I ran along here, didn't see a thing, which he wouldn't anyway. And then he used my site records, which are only the bare basics. And then he sent them back for modification to the road to go through. No consultation with Maori and that going through Dock, they never do. And so with those 6 or 7 sites I had recorded and marked out, the Historic Police Trust said, let it all go, not enough information. 100% clarity, rationalist authority would have said, not enough information, get more information for us to make a decision on. And this is the way they've operated, cost of thousands of Maori sites, right to this day. Not enough information, let it go. And so then when he saw me, I then showed him pages of carefully measured sites to the centimetre of sites and layouts and that. But why didn't he come to me as a recorder in the first place? So I'd have more information. But no, between being very clever with the department and touring at the time, and that's the way they work. And so we lost these sites now at the road because the Historic Police Trust gave authority to them to be modified. We easily swung the road a few metres either side to miss the sites. Oh no, that's responsibility under terms of the Act and accountability. So you're getting my stories and you can get others' stories. So marvellous legislation until you look at all the traps and pitfalls and the weasel words and clauses. And so this is just a part of the journey that we be on. But we'll go off here.
We're losing the light, so I think we should go around to these places if we can.
We can run up the track and then just run up the track and then call.
We'll catch up with us.
I'll send you that black and white photo of this well-cleared canoe landing that's here. I'm almost worried that we've might even be round the corner here, but we've just missed it. Once you've got tracks like this, cycle walking tracks, only once a year or even so 6 months, there's someone walking pace with a machete, just keep things clear. That's why the trustees want thousands of dollars from ratepayers for the public to access what they had 30 years, which they would have had the land taken from them all that time ago. And so when someone says, young people or someone says, oh, we know there might be burials here and there, are they even bothering coming out and walking and relating to the land? It's, but it's a marvellous part of the heritage to have these walkways. Like Samson, aren't I, between the pillars?
Yeah.
Bring the temple down on their heads and kill more people of the Philistines than he ever could kill during his lifetime. But what I'm saying here in Killing, this is an area of a momentous battle took place. Now, when we were at the other end of the lake, I said the people, through some grievance they had with the TeWhare tower down the Turingi end, near Te Kanu, Waihi, and the pa there, they unsuccessfully attacked. It was from an incident that took place here, and the fighting and the killing that took place here. That's when Mananui, as a young man, came up and took part in this fighting and excelled himself and earned mana as a warrior. Unlike today, you get all these accolades by default without lifting a finger, just using him. The Maori Rangatira and chiefs and warriors had to earn their reputation. Not the fact their fathers and grandfathers might have been great warriors and chiefs and orators in their own right. You had to prove yourself as an individual. So with this area, a lot of dogs in this area. It must be the third one I've counted. And there's dog number 4. There's let's give this place another name. And 5, 6. We're counting all the dogs in the area. Look, I just done my Philistine Samson thing. Hiria, then you had Mananui, and then you had Horonuku was number 4, but Iwikawa's brother, because he was too young at the landslip, 1847, took place there. So it's the second paramount chief that earned his mana here at this area as a warrior with the fighting. But that fighting took place because the people that took their turn were caught up in the other people right from Rokawa area and beyond. And so connecting with the whole of the issues that took place, the enslaving of Parikawa, taking them over to Motuapa, and the link with that lightning of snaring of the duck snaring nets of the Motuapa, all had the connections. The connection here was that he came up because a Ngāti Tahu chief was killed at Lake Rutanairo. Ngāti Tahu chief was in charge, occupied Lake Rutanairo, and he was killed, and this ended up, the party that did it got caught up within this area and killed by TeWhare tower. And it was the Ngāti Tahu, you're counting fantails now, caught up there. So with that took place, and that collectively then got Ngāti Tahu with the alliances and that as a warrior group of TeWhare tower, from mainly started from here with the second paramount chief. Well, we could be walking above it because it was in the bank. I'd have to look up the map in the book of words, because it was not a wide entrance, but went in deeply. So you need a camera torch.
But it's not a burial cave.
No. But then, how's to know? At one time there weren't burials and they've been removed. Yeah. Most of the caves and shelters, that are few and far between, they had all sorts of uses: storage, sleeping, burial, or temporary burial placements. And so this is where you've got the multi-facility.
Point inland. Yeah.
Do you think we've walked past where the cave is, or have we missed it?
I don't know, the features here, canoe landing over there.
Yes,
Canoe landing?
yes,
I went on the rocky beach.
yes. I've just been out there.
Yeah, and you see that great gap. You come in, there are a few blackberries, and from here, you always take that to get alignment. These may not look much by themselves. When you look over here, have they all got placed up? Stones have all been placed up.
Yes.
And you've got those placement there, and further over there, and for all of this here, have been all placed, cleared and placed together.
Is that to allow the canoes to come up?
Oh no, canoe landings down there. I possibly could, because we're not too far from the lake from here.
We're not.
And here you've got just over here. Now we're walking over this lot here, but there's another lot. There's a lot of stones that have all been placed up together. And outside there, you've got the owners of the rocky beach of a landing or cleared landing. So, association always use a canoe landing by a lake if they're looking for anything immediately inside, possibly associated with it. Clear them closer to the side and they're placed. So it's just not the big significant features we've seen, but it's nevertheless an activity and a feature in a similar nature.
It's interesting they didn't build stone walls and houses out of, because there is so much stone around, hey? There was not much in the way of old stone wall
and the people that
whateas.
were doing this activity might have lived away from here. They're just coming in
The pub club.
for the Donnybrooks.
It's funny to see things just on their own. You're like, why is that there?
Aye, having its day.
Hey, we've been here before.
We know, we should know.
We've been here before.
Yes, we have. That's what happens when you go off the track. You sometimes go in circles. But look what we found. We found something from the deep past.
Yeah. Come and stick it over here and just stem. Okay. Thought it sounded hollow. I thought it sounded hollow.
It's probably tomo all around.
This was the,
This has a feeling of ancientness, this path.
Okay.
well, Jeffrey in front's got the lead, but they're,
Yeah, I saw him.
he's about the fifth dog we've seen walking that way. You're walking back to the car park.
Jeffrey's got the lead.
Want my belt on him.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get past him. Come on. Come on, Jeff. Let's go.
Well, he's off.
Keep going. Keep going.
I was going to take my belt off, but my trousers might have promptly fallen down.